Dyer,
There we go.
Josh Kretzer, Wendell Hughes,
Here.
Mark Henry, Kimberly Davis, Carl Weiss, Charles Harrington, Meg Wood, Ike Tyler, Sean Gilliland, Mike Diskin, Jim Dugan, Clay Arsenal.
Here.
Beth Hunt,
Here.
Christy Wilt, here, Brian Wells,
Here.
Jody Small, Tracy Eldridge, Dennis Dickinson, Frank Thomas,
Here.
John Stroud, Kevin Garrity,
Here.
Christine Norton,
Here.
Kevin Hajos, Sue Clary,
Here.
Sam Hall, Dave O'Brien,
Here.
Bob Henke,
Here.
Al Nolet,
Present.
Deb Donahue. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have a quorum. First order of business is election of officers. I'd like to open the floor for nominations for the 2024 chairperson. Do I have any nominations?
I'd like to nominate Dave O'Brien.
Christy Wilt nominates Dave O'Brien. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Wendell Hughes. Do I have any other nominations? Do I have any other nominations? Do I have any other nominations? Can I have a motion to close the nominations for chair? Motion, by Beth Hunt. Can I have a second?
I'll second it.
By Clay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Can all those in favor of electing Dave O'Brien, 2024 chair, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing none, Mr. O'Brien is elected chair. Come on up.
Go to the big boy seat. We can be born. Yeah. I want. He's got enough. He's got enough. Feet.
First of all, Beth, you're doing such a good job. You're gonna take care of the rest of the election.
No, that's okay.
All right.
Nice try.
Well, thank you for your continuing confidence. It's been a good ride and we still have a lot to go forward and we have challenges in front of us. And I think that one of the things that Beth has talked about is I think that we've had so many changes of supervisors and legislatures over the years. Is that one thing we'd like to do is to go and make presentations to your entire board, just to reacquaint with where we were, where we are, and where we're going. So thank you. Next is election of vice chairperson. Do we have a nomination for vice chairperson?
I'll nominate Ike Tyler.
Beth nominates Mike Tyler. Do I have a second? Second by Wendell. Do I have any other nominations? Do I have any other nominations? Asking for third time, do I have any other nominations? All right, I'd entertain a motion to close nominations for vice chairperson.
I'll make motion.
Frank, and do I have a second? Shannon. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And on the motion to elect Ike as vice chair? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ike, put your hand down. Thank you for being to serve. So now we have a vice chairperson and we now need a second treasurer. And I will entertain a motion for treasurer nomination.
I'll nominate Al Nolet.
Christie nominates Al Nolet. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Beth. Do I have any further nominations? Do I have any further nominations? She's throwing things at me again. Do I have any further nominations? I'll ask for a motion to close the nominations. Motion by Wendell. Do I have a second? Second by Ike. All in favor?
Aye.
And I ask for a vote on the election of Al Nolet for treasurer. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Secretary, I'll entertain a motion for nomination as secretary.
We'll move to nominate Christy Wilt. Second.
We have a motion to nominate Christy
I'll
Wilt
second it.
and a second by Clay. Do I have any further nominations? Do I have any further nominations? Do I have any further nominations? I've been asked 3 times. I will ask for a motion to close the nominations.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Clay. Do I have a second?
Good.
Second by Wendell and Ike. And all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And on the nomination, I will ask for a vote on secretary for Christy Wilt. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you very much. Appointment of executive committee at large. John's not here. What timing?
He was waiting in the hall.
As
So-
you shall receive.
I will appoint John Stroh as the at-large member for the board.
Perfect timing.
Board action.
Appointment.
Oh.
Oh, sorry, that was my bad.
And so, John, congratulations.
On.
You're now the chair of the idea,
Guys, we're on YouTube.
at-large member, John. Continuing your excellent role. And I need a motion to approve the October 10th, 2023 regular meeting minutes as mailed. Motion by Wendell. Do I have a second? Second by John Stroh. He's filling in for the gap in time. Any omissions or corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Mr. newly elected treasurer. Do we have the treasurer's report, please?
We do. Excellent. And you got a lot on our agenda today, so it won't take much of your time. The packets in front of you have all the information. If you have any questions, you can always contact me after. The biggest thing that I wanted to note is I know that we went into 2023 with a little bit of apprehension. It was a fairly ambitious budget. And we wanted to make sure that the agency could still sustain itself and grow. We don't want to get too big too fast, right? And it turns out that everything that Beth and her team told us was going to happen, happened. So I'm very proud to have worked with them this year and making these things come to fruition. We're closing with a little bit over $500,000 in fund balance. So for any of you that were around in 2018, when the ship started down a new course, that number seemed impossible. And here we are in 2023, looking at $500,000 and going a little bit north of that. So congratulations to Beth and her team on really working hard at the grants and the administration and the loan program and getting us in this position. It makes things a lot easier going forward when you have a solid foundation to grow from. So thank you for that.
Okay,
If you have any questions on the numbers, you know how to reach me.
okay, good. Board action, we need to approve the treasurer's report and the abstracts. Motion by Ike. Do I have a second? By Shannon and Beth. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. And the 2023 year-end audit.
Yeah, I just wanted to note the auditors will be here the week of February 4th to work on the regional planning board audit for 2023.
No pressure.
No pressure.
No pressure. Is it done yet?
Ask him.
I need, next topic is amendment to the credit card policy. You need board action on that. So Beth,
Yeah, so page, I guess, 1, the first is the title page. Under item number 5, it says that the monthly credit card limits are set at $5,000. There will come a couple of instances this year when the staff and I are traveling that the credit card bill for the month will probably go above 5,000. We do have a combined credit availability between ours and the AGFTC at 10,000. So I would just like to amend the policy to say that the limits are set at 10,000.
Need a motion, please?
I'll make one.
Motion by Wendell. Do I have a second? Second by Frank. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And next we have an amendment investment policy.
Yep, so the investment policy, you all have copies. Starting on page 3, number 3, there's just a typo. It says toe instead of two. That's not the big thing. Page 4, the formatting's wonky. I'll fix that. But under the types of permitted investments, our treasurer has suggested that we add a bullet in there for insured cash sweep accounts. Because we have so much money in the RLFs, it would be nice to invest it and be able to make some higher interest off of that while it's sitting there until we know we need to take it to make a loan.
Are we eligible to invest in non-class?
Right now, like the insured cash sweep account is paying more than night class.
Oh, okay,
But yes,
cool.
it wouldn't hurt to Ike's point, though. It wouldn't hurt to have them both should the rates become more favorable with night class.
You want me to add night class as another bullet as just an eligible?
Yeah, so the insured cash sweep as presented, but I think Ike's amendment for night class would be a worthwhile, just in case the rates do happen to trickle up. I believe that under GML, that this agency is eligible to participate in that as well. Right now, the ICS is higher interest, but you never know.
Okay.
Thanks.
What's the interest rate that we're at?
I know what Washington County is getting. We won't get that rate, but we're at 5.12 right now. So it won't be that rate, but it'll be pretty competitive.
What are we getting in our accounts right now?
Not much.
It's minimal.
I think night class,
1 or 2%.
Yeah, it's like
It's
one.
pretty,
it's very close.
they do like night class +1 to keep
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
So it
Okay,
would be,
have you verified we're eligible?
You put it in the investment policy, and if we're not eligible, we just won't.
Okay,
I believe that you operate under the same, if you're eligible for the insured cash sweep account, you're probably eligible for night class.
all right. So I need a motion to make those changes to be able to invest in night class and the cash sweep. Motion by Ike. Do I have a second? Second by Clay. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Next item of business is reaffirmation of bylaws and policies.
so they were mailed. I do have one set of printed copies right here if anybody needs to see them. But I will read down the reaffirmation of the bylaws and the policies. So they are the credit card policy as just amended, the electronic banking policy, the ethics law, the investment policy as amended, the petty cash policy and procedures, procurement policy, sexual harassment prevention policy and program, time off accrual policy, policy authorizing the use of video conferencing, including in extraordinary circumstances, workplace violence policy, loan collection process, loan committee bylaws, and the LCLGRPB bylaws.
All right, I need a motion to reaffirm the bylaws and policies. Motion by Wendell. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Beth. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Redesignation of banks and newspapers.
So our bank is Glens Falls National Bank, and our newspapers are the Post-Star, the Press Republican, and the Sun Community News.
I need a motion to readopt those as our designation of banks and newspapers. Do I have a Frank? Wendell? Any omissions or corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next is amendment of the 2024 budget. Would you explain it to us, please?
Yes. So looking at the expense category, you will see that the cost for insurance went up a little bit. We don't get those numbers till October, so when we do the budget in July, we under budgeted for that. I increased travel and training by $10,000. Because of my position now on the NATO board, I'll have to travel more as part of that, and also We are going to work more this year to get out into our counties than we have in the past couple of years. The strategic plan, you guys had all set aside 30,000 in fund balance last year to start that effort. I haven't started it yet, so I wanted to put that back in there. And then we have some new grants from the last time that we looked at the budget. So we will be getting additional funding for broadband deployment planning. And we'll be putting that out to our consultant to do work for us for that. Actually, two broadband ones. Our small business technical assistance program we got from USDA, and we have consultants for that. The White Creek Business Park, we have consultants for that. And then Allison secured a grant for Eastern Hemlock Identification and Assessment in Lake George, and we will need some outside work for that. So that's the increases in the expenses. If you turn the page over, the increases in the revenues, the first one, and I highlighted them, I know they're black and white, but the DEC 604B planning grant, we had budgeted 150. We got the number from the DEC, it's 147,672. The interest from the loans, I brought down a little bit because we do have a couple that are not doing so great. So I didn't want to rely too heavily on that income. The fund balance, the 30,000 for the strategic plan. And then we've had some changes in some of the grants. The Clinton County Salt Shed grant actually ended earlier than we thought, so that will not be any income for 2024. But we do have a change for the congressional earmark for the IDA. Will be 8,000 in income. We have another 210,000 coming in from MBRC. We have money coming in from the USDA grant and the White Creek Business Park. Chris got a grant from National Grid to cover that. The Beekmantown earmark, that project will be up and running in 2024. The Village of Cambridge Complete Streets. We had budgeted differently because we weren't sure of the timeline of the project, but now that we know, we're going to have that project for a couple of years. The Indian Lake Salt Shed project will not be moving forward. The Town of Moore's Salt Shed, we just increased that based on our MOU we executed. And then new grants, 75,000 from ESD, 108,000 from the Basin Program. And then we have two other ones, the Fairgrounds project and the Ski Bowl Disaster Resiliency Project, which are going to go into 2024. They had not originally been budgeted to do so, but we need some more time to wrap those up.
Any questions on the changes? They're all positive. I need a motion to amend the budget. Oh, Al,
I'll wait till,
need a motion by Beth. Second by Wendell. Any further discussion? Albert?
yeah, I just wanted to thank Beth for being conservative on her budgeting, because you'll notice that she dropped the interest from the RLFs and has appropriated 30,000 of fund balance to balance the budget. And based on what we got in interest this year, I don't think that we're going to need that 30,000. So I appreciate your conservative approach, but I'm going to put my supervisors, I'm glad they're sitting down, because you often give them good news, but I don't think that we'll use any of the 30,000.
That's real good news from Mr. Nolet. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And
Number 11.
11, reappointment of loan administrative committee members.
So the loan administrative committee members up for reappointment this year are Paul Hamilton from Clinton County, Juan Gonzalez from Washington County, Christy Wilt from Hamilton County, and Mark Monahan serving an at-large position from MBT Bank.
Okay, I need a motion to reappoint the loan committee. Motion by Clay. Do I have a second? Second by Wendell.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Interest rate approval.
So unfortunately, we did not have a quorum at our loan committee meeting last week, so we couldn't get a formal recommendation from the loan committee on what they would like to see the 2024 interest rates being. But staff and having conversations and looking at what's going on, fiscally within the banking world, we feel comfortable at sticking with the 5 to 9 range, which is where we were at for 2023. So if you want to approve that because it is on the board to approve it. The LAC just gives a recommendation. We can do that, or we can wait. The problem is, I think we've got maybe 3 or 4 applications that Ian's working on right now, so we'd like to be able to tell them the interest range. So as staff, we're comfortable with that, but it's not an official recommendation from the loan committee because we couldn't have a meeting.
Move the 5 tonight.
Motion by Ike, do I have a second?
I'll move it. Second.
Second by Wendell. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Thank you. Approval of SEDS. I hope everyone's read the entire thing.
I have a printed copy if you want to look at it.
No, it's black and white.
It says printed.
Okay.
It was emailed. So it's a 2022 to 2027 SEDS. We were unaware that we needed to have official board action to adopt it. So that's why we're bringing it to you now. The SEDS is our comprehensive economic development strategy. It is the 5-county economic plan that the EDA pays us to do. Chris overhauled the whole thing in 2022 and did a great job. And it really hits everything that we're working on and that's going on in the region. So we just need an official board adoption of that plan.
So for new members, the SEDS is a very, very critical part of funding and grants coming into this area. That gives the economic development information to EDA. And they rely on this when they're looking at where grants and funding comes based on the need and everything else. So it's a very, very important thing. And that is chartered by EDA, and we're hired as a regional planning board to develop and monitor this. So it's very important that we make sure this is accurate and support it completely.
And we did present it at the April 12th, 2022 board meeting. I'm sure you all remember that thoroughly.
There's some new faces here.
That's true. You're off the hook then.
Okay,
YouTube.
all right. All in favor?
I need a motion. I need motions.
I need a motion, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Need a motion to Shannon? Do I have a second? Sue Clary? Gotta get Washington County more involved over there. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you very much. Loan committee report.
All right, the loan committee approved a $30,000 working capital loan to Uncle Carl's Cafe LLC in Wells in Hamilton County. And we have foreclosures. A legal action has been started against the ELF property management. There's a $63,361.86 principal balance on an $86,626 loan. The All Brands Redemption Center foreclosure was completed and all funds were dispersed. There's still a $12,643.40 principal balance on the loan and $129,260.88 principal balance on the second loan. That's completes my report.
Okay. Any questions for Christie? All right. Next is Aaron.
Okay, do I have slides? If I don't, I can just go off the list in front of
Got him.
me. Not,
Yeah, I have a clicker. Oh, the slides.
You're dangerous.
hey, look at those.
Yeah. I think it's.
Yes. Oh, the keys to the T-Bird. Thank you.
Did you turn it on?
I did not turn it on. That's our clicker right
Where
there.
am I aiming it at?
The-
I'm the one who's clicked. Oh, look at that. All right. I don't even have to aim it at anything in particular.
It's live.
All right, might have skipped some.
Christine, you'll be fine.
Ah, a little out of order. Interesting. All right, we'll start with that one. I think, yes, our completed work program projects for the last calendar year. We work on the state fiscal year in our office, so there's a little bit of overlap with completion dates and whatnot. The big one for staff was getting the 2045 long-range plan update out of the way. That's our enabling document that basically allows us to continue to exist and continue to produce transportation planning projects that benefit our member municipalities. So that's on a 5-year update cycle. Getting that out of the way is a fairly big accomplishment for staff. I credit Jack Matz for getting most of the work done on that. A couple of collaborative efforts with regional planning board staff are listed up there, the rural workforce transportation plan and the sidewalk condition, ADA infrastructure and pavement condition assessment for the city of Glens Falls. We owe Sam a pair of shoes, at least for the mileage that Sam did doing the data collection on that. A couple of safety projects in the city of Glens Falls were also completed, as was a trail concept plan for the village of Fort Edward. So I'm not sure which way these are going to go. That's the next work program. So this is stuff that's underway. Currently working on a pedestrian assessment for the village of Argyle. Town and village of Fort Anne had requested a better connection between the Empire State Trail and the village. We're working on that. The Hudson Avenue intersections assessment in Glens Falls is just underway. I did some data collection a little bit earlier in the year, I guess in the previous year. Bike ped connectivity study for the town and village of Greenwich. We're accepting consultant proposals are being evaluated for that right now. And we look to initiate the Route 9 Main Street conceptual plan for the town of Warrensburg in March. Where are my slides going? So we recently conducted a solicitation for candidate work program projects for the upcoming state fiscal year. And these are the projects that I will be presenting to my committee tomorrow for their approval as a draft program to be released for public comment. The village of South Glens Falls has requested a number of transportation related investigations, including signal coordination on Main Street, some pedestrian access issues to some of their school zones, as well as a speed study coming into the village. Village of Granville had requested better signing and amenities and connections to the D&H trail in the village. Following that, I got a request from Washington County DPW for a targeted complete streets analysis for County Route 24, which actually intersects that trail on the north side of the village. So it made sense to combine those two projects to me. So I'll be suggesting that tomorrow. The town of Queensbury has expressed interest in pursuing some conceptual design for bicycling connections between the Gurney Lane and Rush Pond area to the Warren County Municipal Center and the bikeway, as well as improved connections to SUNY Adirondack. I hope to combine those two concepts as well. CDTA, our new public transportation operator for the region, has requested non-motorized access improvement concepts related to their fixed location bus stops. So we'll be working with them to identify those. City of Glens Falls has requested an update to their bicycle plan, similar to what we hope to be pursuing in Warrensburg. Route 9N in the town of Lake Luzerne has been requested as a corridor study candidate. And we hope, although this timetable isn't always under my control, to be updating our transportation improvement program, which is our roster of federally funded capital projects for a 5-year time period. That process rather is driven by New York State DOT, and we will be following their timetable along with that of our colleagues to the south at Capital Region Transportation Council. That's all I have. Any questions on content? Happy to take those as the chairman suggests.
You mentioned you're doing a safety and mobility study. Because that's in the village, so they can change the traffic laws. If the town wanted to do that, they couldn't do that.
No, we're probably looking at a similar jurisdictional issue in the village. They're largely concerned with operational issues on Route 9, which is state owned. What I had to do in that instance was approach state DOT and make sure that I had their consent to be working on these types of issues because they've got their own in-house technical capabilities and I don't want to be stepping on toes. And some of the signal technology that's coming out is relatively new, but they indicated a willingness to let us chase after it. So again, it was kind of a matter of seeking their consent, saying, is this okay that we work on this? It's on your system. But yeah, the villages and the towns have the same issues. The cities, if this had been in Glens Falls, that would have been there under their jurisdictional purview.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for Aaron? Thank you very much for your presentation, Aaron,
Thank you, Chairman.
and thanks for coming. Next is year in review.
Ian, did I do that or did you do that?
I just did that.
Okay.
You'd be able to go over, just go over.
Then all the clicker is not working for me.
This way.
Oh.
Is there a mouse?
Okay. Oh, so hang on, now that we got to, so 2023 year in review. That's Mayor Ray Perry from Lake George and I at the DRI announcement for Lake George with the giant $10 million check. So it, what? Yeah, it does. However, that we didn't lead that effort. I'll take credit for that. So in 2023, the Regional Planning Board submitted 52 grant applications. To date, 36 of those have been announced, and of those 36, 20 were awarded, totaling $8 million in funding brought into the region. We still have 16 grants that we're waiting for the state and federal government to announce awards. So this is the slide I think everybody likes. For every dollar contributed by the 5 counties, we secured $188 in grant funds for the region. This is a list of the grants that we've gotten, and it's not to make you have to read through all of them, but we do a lot of different work. Department of State, comp planning, brownfields, climate resiliency, main streets, historic preservation, rural business work, and water and wastewater infrastructure work. So our efforts in 2023 between our grant writing, our community development, and our loan fund, we've impacted 48 communities and all 5 counties in our region. Economic development, we've got 12 ongoing projects. We wrote 16 economic development grants this year. I mentioned Chris was part of the working committee for the Lake George DRI. I just got the picture with the mayor and the check. Did 8 intermunicipal reviews, and in our ongoing projects, we've been working on wastewater and drinking water infrastructure, as I mentioned, resiliency, industrial and business park development, broadband and cellular is a lot of our work, small business assistance, and workforce development. Our community development program, we've got 12 ongoing projects. We wrote 20 grants. I was part of the housing work group for the North Country Regional Economic Development Council plan, which received $10 million. It was one of the 3 statewide winners for the REDC plan updates. And the community development topics, we've been doing a lot with workforce housing and outdoor recreation. In 2023, we started dipping our toes into brownfields and historic preservation. And the planning team has been working on a lot of Main Street and comprehensive plans. The water quality program, we have 15 ongoing projects. We wrote 16 grants in 2023. Allison has been successful in securing funding for salt sheds. I seem to be successful in getting winter road maintenance equipment grants for our communities and our counties. But we get funding for roadside erosion, culvert replacements. Sam's been working on watershed and lake assessments. And we've started working on invasive species in 2023. We are managing 26 grants on behalf of other municipalities and entities. And then we have 14 grants to the Regional Planning Board that we are also managing. So this isn't just projects we're involved in. These are grants we're actually doing the administration on. Our small business loan fund, in 2023, there were 4 loans approved. One of them is not moving forward, so 3 will move forward for $321,000 in capital loans. There were no denied loans. We did modify 2 loans. Those were just collateral subordination, so there was no change in funding structure. But we did subordinate to the bank on 2 instances in our existing loans. We have 3 loans that are defaulted, the 2 Joe Brands and the Elf Property Management that Christy mentioned earlier. So total principal of 210, 226 in that. We wrote off 1 loan, that was the Adirondack Meat, the Ward loan in Ticonderoga. We finally got through the whole process, wrote it off earlier this year. We had 1 loan mature and 1 loan pay off early. So starting in 2024, we have 49 loans totaling $5.27 million in loaned capital. That's it.
You're done?
Listen, there's a storm coming.
There's more to come.
I'll tell you the weather forecast tomorrow. Okay, Ian's next.
Any questions? If anyone has questions about
Any questions?
2023, let me know.
You know where to find her.
It's pretty good.
Keep things breezy and quick. I actually did this before we knew about the storm, so you're welcome. Loan funds pretty pretty light in last quarter here. We had the one loan to Uncle Carl's Coffee for $30,000. We're expecting that one to close early this first quarter. And as Beth said, we did have one loan from Q3 that did fall through. While the other one is looking also to close in early 2024. Then lastly, as Al can attest to him, I've been communicating quite frequently of late, but despite everything, I think the loan fund is operating pretty successfully, and I think we have some decent loan recipients coming up for the next fiscal year. So as a continuing theme, I've been still doing the small business office hours. I actually got to do one at the ARCC with Jeff Boyce from the SBA and Tricia Rogers from the ARCC hosted us. With that, during those, I've been promoting our small business technical assistance program. As of today, we actually have 6 approved applications. And that 6th one is one in, I believe it was Warren County. So we have those ongoing. I've heard back from a few different people who started their work with our consultant and have been nothing but appreciative of them. So I think we did a good job of selecting a good consultant for this technical assistance. And I look forward to kind of seeing what these businesses can produce with the assistance that we provide. And if you have any businesses in your community that could possibly benefit from this, please reach out to me and I'll be happy to make that connection for them and walk them through the application if need be. Any questions?
Now we're, Chris, before
All right.
starts. It's with sadness I announce that Chris has told us that he's leaving to take another opportunity.
He told us.
Well, he told us.
Let him.
Well, I know. I asked Beth to make sure we cleaned up some of those jail cells and the building. To keep them in there, but I do want to take the opportunity. I do want to take the opportunity to recognize Chris's immense contributions to the organization. He's done a lot in the past, 3 years, 4 years?
Almost 3 years. Yeah.
Almost 3 years. And he's using this to move forward in his career. And I congratulate him. And I just wish him well in his luck. We're going to miss him a lot. And he's going to miss us.
Maybe a little.
So thank you, Chris.
You took all the content from my slides, but I'll try to work around. I appreciate those words, Chairman. And I'll speak to that following this presentation here. So this past quarter, I was fortunate enough to attend the U.S. Department of Transportation Thriving Communities convening in Washington, D.C. With the city of Glens Falls, who we assisted receive some technical assistance through the U.S. DOT to help them advance some local priorities. And so this was a convening of, I think, 60 different groups that have been seeking this technical assistance. And we were addressed by pretty much everybody from Department of Transportation, including the U.S. Transportation Secretary. And if this opportunity comes up again, I would highly encourage you to reach out to the regional planning board and see if it makes sense for you. It's a really good opportunity. If especially for larger communities, if you have some capacity, but not enough to push some of these larger transformative initiatives across the finish line, this program seems to be working wonders. The other item I wanted to mention was that we've been successful in my department on bringing in about, I think, 8 state grants so far, and there's a couple more to be announced, including a $4.7 million award that was written in large part by our still new Assistant Economic Development Coordinator, Jessica Lurkes. So that was that was a FAST New York grant to assist with some of the capital improvements down at the Canal Side Energy Park. I also, not on the slides here, but I also wanted to mention, because we just had a meeting yesterday about it. And Aaron's here, I see Shannon's here. And so the Safe Streets and Roads for All project has kicked off. For those of you that aren't familiar with what Safe Streets and Roads for All is, it's a new program established through the bipartisan infrastructure law that has about $5 billion in funding for safety improvements. That's just a small drop in the bucket for all the other transportation money that's out there, but as Aaron could probably testify, safety, money for safety improvements is not easy to come by. And so we secured funding for developing a plan. This year is going to be a big year for that plan, and we expect participation from your communities. That will help drive some of the implementation work that goes forward with improving safety measures across the 5 counties. So keep an eye out for that. And then I guess just to close, I wanted to just say, regretfully, I'm leaving the regional planning board. It's been an absolute joy working for the regional planning board. I've learned a lot, done a lot. And so I think the only thing I could leave you with was don't forget about this organization as you're working in your counties and your communities. This is a really great organization that does great work, and they need your support as well. So with that, I don't think I have any other content on the slides here. So
Any questions for Chris?
Talk about safety program. What do you mean by safety?
so with this funding, we've hired a consultant, Creighton Manning, and there's a couple others on the consultant team. We have a core committee. Let me back up. We're actually doing 2 plans. We're doing a plan for Warren, Washington, and Moreau, and then another plan for Essex, Hamilton, and Clinton. We have a committee made up of DPW planners, DOT. We'll be doing outreach. What the work is that's going to be done, though, is the consultants will be using data that's out there, identifying high injury networks, where there's lots of fatal or severe injuries on accidents. Identify those areas, work with the committee, and kind of establish what are some measures that can be implemented to, eliminate fatalities on our highways.
Anna from Community Planning is the Essex County rep on the core committee for.
Thank you.
Yeah, so
another plan. Shannon's your Clinton and Christie is your Hamilton.
And public outreach is a big component of the project, so you'll be hearing about this hopefully in your communities.
yes, absolutely. So if you haven't heard about it yet, you will be. And we expect full participation because
It's a good opportunity to access some safety project funding for sure.
yeah, exactly.
And we've got state DOT working with us on it, so it really is a collaborative.
State or Albany State?
So we've got
Two different characters we're talking about.
our region actually has 3 different DOT regions in it. 1, 2, and 7, is
Mhm.
that right?
Mhm.
So we have a rep from each one of those regions working with us, so,
Again, if you don't have,
Yeah.
they're just the go-between.
yeah, but Greg Witcher out of Albany.
The key thing with this funding too is a lot of transportation dollars that come from the feds to the states. Well, I'm sorry, a lot of transportation dollars go from the feds to the states. This specific funding source actually does not allow the states to apply. So they're going to need to work with our counties and the regional planning board and so on and so forth. So your input is valuable.
The state really appreciates that.
And we should add that New York State DOT provided all of the required match for our funding. So this is coming to you all without any local match required.
Okay, any other questions? So clear?
On what you're doing, does that just include the transportation of it, or does it also include cell coverage that if you're on an accident on one of these state roads, that you have safety measures taken into place?
It's just the physical transportation infrastructure.
But to
So that
speak to
doesn't-
that, it does locate accidents, so it, you know, that data could be used for something else, but this particular project won't talk about.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
My turn.
Your turn.
So in early November, Beth and I attended the NATO conference in Cleveland, Ohio, one of those cities in Ohio. And we received an impact award for the housing plan, the Building Better Communities for the North Country. We continue to advance efforts and strategies identified in that plan. We're currently working with Camoin to do sort of a pre-development framework. That project is kind of in flux right now, but we'll come out with something useful for y'all. Sam and I are advancing the Johnsburg Comprehensive Plan and plan to start the Horking Comprehensive Plan in early this year. Oh, let's see, in water quality, Sam and I attended a DEC workshop in Syracuse. It was a great opportunity to meet with other regional planning boards who are doing similar work that we're doing and talk about some of our programming with our DEC reps. Sam's working with the Lake Pleasant, Lake Sacandaga Lake Associations on a lake management plan. And we continue on a variety of water quality grant administration activities that Beth spoke about before. Included in our water quality work right now, where we have an ongoing project to update the Lake Champlain Subwatershed Assessment Plan. We need projects. So if your community is in the Lake Champlain water basin and you have projects that could be, you know, roadside stabilization, stream corridor studies, any of the like that impact water quality, please contact Sam. We've had great success in the past getting projects funded that were listed in this plan. So we'll get those in there and we'll help you get some money and advance those. Let's see. I guess a final thing I'd like to mention. Oh, well, one big one. We have scheduled our 2024 conference for October 3rd. It will be at the High Peaks Conference Center in Lake Placid again. So please mark your calendars. We'd love for you all to join us. It's a fun event. It'll be a half-day program again. And more information we'll get out to you in the coming months. And we've been working to increase our social media and press outreach efforts. This is kind of in the vein of making sure our communities and the residents of our communities know who we are and what we can do for them. So if you're able and you follow us on Facebook, please help share some of the things we share. We also have been working to increase our press releases we send out to the media. And Sam has been working on creating sort of a smaller scale newsletter that we'll send out monthly, which are our monthly highlights, things we've achieved and want to celebrate that happen on a monthly basis. Just a little more interaction with the public. That's, you know, a little more digestible for everyone. And then that's Beth mentioned some of the grants we received thus far, and we anticipate most of them starting this year. So we're excited to get going and work with the communities.
Any questions for Allison?
Yes.
Done.
Oh, I just want to thank Allison for all her hard work. I know it wasn't easy, but the end result was wonderful. The Lake George Action Plan. It's now in the final stages, and so is that grant.
Yep.
And thank you, Allison.
Thank you. You're welcome. It was a pleasure despite the hardships.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you for all your work, Allison. I appreciate it.
All right, at the end here. So the North Country Chamber of Commerce pulled together us along with some other entities in the region, so AATV, Roost, and the Adirondack Economic Development Corp, to put together a 2024 Adirondack Economic Agenda, which it's the last page of my report for everybody. The chamber had asked us to contribute to the housing piece of that. AATV, Bill Farber contributed to the broadband and cellular. Roost was working on the tourism. Victoria from AEDC did the economic and business development. And then Steve McNally from AATV contributed to the portion on the constitutional amendment. So this is being circulated widely, both in Albany and federally to help advance some of the work that we've been doing in the Adirondack Park on these issues. And so these 5 regional entities will continue to kind of band together to push these forward and try to get some attention on both the state and federal stage to work on some of these issues. Just some other things. I presented with Stephanie Bertena from the EPA at the NATO conference on the recreation economy for rural communities project that we did in Granville. I also spoke at some other things. I mentioned I was on the housing committee for the North Country REDC plan. And I'm also participating on the New York State Open Space Plan Committee for Region 5. And I just want to give a quick broadband update. The broadband deployment plan is underway. Again, many of you in this room have been a part of that or will be contacted by Tectonic, who are our consultants for that work. That will be done by May 1st. We're also getting additional funding from Empire State Development to help in the state challenge process for broadband, which starts next month in February. And we're getting another $220,000 from Northern Border Regional Commission to work on broadband in the region. So we have some ideas of how we would use that money through 12/31/25. So that's just a quick broadband update. I think that's it.
Any questions for Beth? Okay. Do we have any other to cover? Next meeting date is April 9th, 2024 at 1 o'clock, location to be determined.
I think we do our April in Hamilton County. Was that right?
The sun out then?
It's always out in Hampton County.
Worked last time. I think we did Hamilton County with a satellite in Clinton and a satellite in Warren. Is that, or Washington? I think it was Washington.
I think it was at our office.
Oh, was that? That's terrible. Let's not do that again.
You should do it on the 8th during the eclipse
Oh.
Oh,
in Clinton County.
we already got plans. Right?
I'm throwing it out.
So can Hamilton take us, the circus physically, and then we'll do either a Warren, Washington and a Clinton? Does that work for everybody? Yeah, Brian, that's good with you? Yeah.
Good. Without any other business, don't run away. We have another meeting after this. I will adjourn the meeting. And then we will call the REDC meeting to order.
Don't leave.
Send you my phone.
Except for my staff, thank you. Not you. Yeah, no.
Buy a copy.
All right.
That was